You want me to put that on my todger?
Ice Cube ices her. Harry's wife, probably one of the most unpopular people on the planet right now. A-list don't want anything to do with her, clamouring around for a few friends and finding that she's attracting criticism left, right and centre. And this time, Mr. Cube has decided to bowl up with his own observations. According to Emma Wilson of The Mirror, Ice Cube has some shocking advice for Harry's wife as he weighs in on royal drama. Ice Cube had some shocking advice for Harry's wife as he weighed in on the royal drama surrounding the Duchess of Sussex and Prince Harry. Back in January 2020, the couple caused controversy when they announced that they would be quitting as senior working royals, and have since left London and relocated to Los Angeles, where they now live with son Archie 4 and daughter Lilibet 2. Both Harry and Harry's wife, who wed in a star-studded lavish ceremony, yes, we know, get on with it. And yes, we know they had an interview with Oprah Winfrey. And yes, we know they had a deal with Spotify. And yes, we know it also turned sour. And we know that they parted ways with Spotify, so there we are. Now, the Sussexes have received some advice from an unlikely celebrity, rapper and actor, Ice Cube. Mr. Cube, who first found fame as part of iconic hip-hop group NWA, believes Harry and Harry's wife should have stuck it out as working royals, and thinks they could have made more positive changes to the monarchy if they had decided to stay. I think when you're in the house, you can make more changes to the house than when you're outside of the house, the rapper, real name O'Shea Jackson, said during an interview with Good Morning Britain. Sage advice from Mr. Cube there. That's just my opinion. If they stuck it out, then they might have been able to make some changes, he shared. He also spoke about racially charged headlines directed at Harry's wife when she began dating Prince Harry in 2016. One took NWA's platinum 1988 debut album title to claim she was straight out of Compton, due to growing up in the Los Angeles neighborhood of Crenshaw. He slammed the reference as off-color and wasn't impressed with the tone, adding, to have somebody say you come straight out of Compton, it has a tone of you come out of the hood or you come out of the ghetto. There's great people that come out of those places. Well, Mr. Cube letting his views known. But ultimately, was he correct to suggest that she ought to, and along with Harry, stuck at it? Well, in essence, he is. Because if they had done so, she would have been able to harness the institution that was the royal family. This would have meant that if she had got on with the ribbon cutting and the meeting people and showing actual service, people have continued to like her. Remember, she was given a warm welcome to begin with and plenty of support. It was only when she started to try and make changes, when she sought to go against convention and protocol, started to be awkward with staff, started to get this reputation for bullying, which of course she denies, that more and more of that started to come out. And eventually, her narcissism, realizing that she wasn't able to assert control over the people within the institution directly or indirectly, caused her to have to withdraw. So she backed off, first going to Canada and then California. If she had remained, her status would have been good. She would have had the title, she would have had respect from people, but also their warmth and then their enthusiasm, because many people saw her addition as something that was constructive for the royal family, another modern flavour. Also, Harry was well liked, and people wanted him to be happy, particularly after what had happened to him with regard to the loss of his mother. In the circumstances, therefore, it was important for people to see that Harry was happy, and they thought that he would be. Of course, There were those among us who saw from a very early stage what she was about, but the general public gave her a good opportunity, and she could have been able to harness the royal family. She would get tremendous exposure, she'd be able to travel around the world, she would be able to be well liked, she would have a privileged lifestyle. But because her narcissism wanted her to do it on her terms, to assert control over people within the organization, so that she was then able to acquire character traits and residual benefits to nullify what it deemed to be threats to control, she started to cause trouble. There are plenty of narcissists that have married into or joined royal families, and their narcissism has recognized that it is advantageous to harness the institution rather than fight against it. Harry's wife's narcissism didn't work that way. And therefore Mr. Cube is accurate when he criticizes her for a failure to embrace the institution, for a failure to utilize what it could provide to her. It isn't a surprise because her brand of narcissism made it that she has to be the main character, that she has to be the main individual, that it really truly is all about her. She could have made it about herself without going down the route that she did. She could have gained plenty of fuel from the public appearances, the charitable work. But her narcissism also steered her in the direction because of her greed. Notwithstanding the fact that she had people waiting on her, taking her places in cars, ferrying her here and there in planes, that people would attend to her in terms of dressing, that she would be brought everything that she needed. She wanted more money, because her narcissism sees that as a particularly important residual benefit. And this desire for greed, along with the ongoing need for control, meant that the institution wasn't going to satisfy her in the way that she felt was necessary. It wasn't giving her the wealth or status. For example, the way that she wanted the freebies, she wanted to keep the clothing that was sent as gifts, despite that being against protocol. The way that she remarked about how she couldn't believe she wasn't being paid when she was there to meet people in Australia, I think. That's her narcissism talking. That's her narcissism causing her to seek out that residual benefit. And therefore, because her attempts to change things were resisted by the royal family and its staff, which threatened her sense of control, and because she wanted a greater level of the residual benefit of money, that sowed the seeds for her malcontent to cause her to leave the royal family, in effect, and seek her fortune overseas. Accordingly, Mr. Cube identifies that she ought to have stuck it out, but failed to do so. He could see the benefits of her doing so, but she couldn't, once again, because her narcissism wouldn't let her. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.